We've come a long way. Many years of Kimba the White Lion over numerous adaptations, subjects, and things that could have been. The 1997 film was, and possibly will forever be, the highest stage that this franchise would ever really go, because after the Han-OG film, there was hardly any sort of talk outside of the matter. It just kinda died down for a while. However, about 11 years after this film's release, came the latest adaptation of the franchise. Jungle Emperor, The Brave Can Change the Future. Now, a few things to note. As of writing this, there isn't exactly a dubbed version of this movie yet. Yeah, about that. There actually is an English dub out now, and it's been out for a while on, I think it was Retro Crush. But the video itself was recorded well before this even happened, so, yeah, you're not gonna hear much about it in this video. Anyways, this 2009 film was created in honor of the 80th anniversary of Osamu's birth, written by Suzuki Osamu and published by Tezuka Productions. Though while this film itself might seem like a very nice approach to the franchise after such a long time, I got a funny feeling in the back of my head many veterans of the franchise would probably go like this.
What? Why have they died?
You'll find out why as we go along, but for now let's get into it as we've always had and see what the deal with this is even about. Alrighty then, right off the bat, I can already tell that this is not the same story that any of the films and TV shows had done so far. In fact, there are so many differences between this and the rest of the franchise, it's almost shocking that it's even considered a film from the franchise to begin with. Here's the official information from the Jungle Emperor Wiki about what the synopsis is, so you can see my point. It completely flips the Jungle Emperor's story, setting its tale in a neo-jungle, created to preserve animal life as much of the wild has been destroyed. Enter Kenichi, son of the CEO of Eternal Earth, who created the preserve. He has the special ability to understand the language of animals. He meets Leo, son of Panja and Eliza, who is criticized by all the animals as a coward. They tell him he isn't as brave as his father, but Leo is determined to prove them wrong. A sickness breaks out among the animals that appears contagious to humans, prompting the decision to destroy them all. Then it's up to Kenichi and Leo to save the animals. Seriously though, this is extremely far from the original take. The only things that it seems that carry over from the other adaptations are a few of the characters, and even then they alter them a ton, but we'll get to that later. Comparing all this to the previous stories told is astonishing. The only main plots carried over being Leo proving himself worthy, and the disease spreading among the animals, and that's it. No talk about civilizing the animals, not a single bit of idea about animals getting along with people, there isn't even any ideas of building anything. Granted, it does give commentary about how people should try to take care of the world a bit better, but in a different kind of way. Now, typically the humans presented in the franchise are either destroying the environment or destroying wildlife for the heck of it. And yes, those are some pretty bad things that we as people should really be aware of and try to get a handle on. But this movie takes that a step further, and now the message is more on how humans are trying to play God. That they can pretty much create anything and as such destroy everything, and not really have to worry about it because they technically own everything. Wait a minute. Humans playing God, creating life from genetics, owning everything. This is straight up Jurassic Park! The idea that we humans think we know everything and can control everything, just to get royally screwed over in the end by nature proving us wrong, that's exactly what's going on here. No wonder this movie felt so different from everything else. I don't know if I should be impressed or confused by this, but yeah, that's what this turned out to be. No, I'm not calling out Kimba for ripping off Jurassic Park now, it's gone through enough of that already. But you can't deny that core message here. All in all, the plot feels strange. Not bad, but different. It depends on how you slice it. Now let's move on to the characters. Or lack thereof. Yeah, the main cast of characters is actually kind of small in this movie. Not the very main ones being carried over from other adaptations. Bucky, Daniel Baboon, Kitty, Pagula, Viper Snakely, Claw, none of them show up here. The only main ones crossed over here are Leo, Panja, Eliza, Kenichi, Coco, Toto, and Elder Dolph. In case you don't know who that is, he appears in the 1989 series for one episode. Why did they include him? I'm stumped. I guess they're trying to replace Daniel Baboon with this character, but that's the best I got. Anywho, I got a lot to talk about Leo here. This isn't him. Not in the same way, anyhow. Each and every incarnation when Leo was a cub up to this point kept him level-headed, independent, and at the very least brave in the face of danger. But here, we get the opposite. A very childlike character who, for the most of the movie, is scared of heights, even going as far as to cry over it. I suppose this can be a much younger version of Leo, and some reason in this version he has his actual parents to take care of him. But then again, the other adaptations don't show him off this bad of a crybaby. He does improve later, but that's not the point. Okay, Kimba has been shown to be childlike before, and yes, he had cried his eyes out, but not over this. 1965's Kimba, for instance, breaks out into tears in episode 39, even running away back home. But that was because he was going to be responsible for hundreds of deaths from a herd of antelopes stampeding into a lake which he caused. And the Leo in 1989 didn't have the kind of reaction at all, except for one brief moment, but that was about it. Those are better reasons than, "Oh no, I'm so high up on the cliff, someone help me!" Jeez, get a grip on yourself, you're not in danger, yet. Also, the parent thing itself is a problem. The biggest core element in many adaptations is the fact that Leo doesn't have parents when growing up, and had to make the decisions mostly on his own, with a few help from his friends. Here, though, he doesn't have that issue, and probably would explain why he's so much of a wimp compared in the first place, but this also means an important part of him is missing. We wouldn't have the Leo we've come to know and love without the element in it, and while his father does die during the movie, which is mandatory at this point, he still has his mother, so he's not an orphan in this version of the movie at all. Speaking of, next up we have Panja, the current king, or otherwise former king, of the Neo Jungle. Now, he's not that big of a departure from the previous works, being wise and brave and all that, but this version of Panja, I feel like lost his majesty. Here's what I mean. After Panja dies, Eliza explains that the whole reason he doesn't fight humans is because he will risk all the animals' lives, putting everyone in danger doing so. This is fine, but this is also absolute. The Panja in previous adaptations would never allow his jungle to live in a place like this, and at the very least would try to get them out to be free again. As he said himself,
"You animals know that I have always stood for peace among all creatures, but not if it means slavery."
Now, once upon a time this probably wouldn't be so, but times have changed, and other renditions of Panja have him willing to fight and defy if he thinks it's right, even if it means he'll strike out. This one, though, is too quiet to even get up to bat, which is sad to see, actually. Alright, who else do we got? We got Kenichi, who is childlike, adventurous, and, you know, the usual jazz. Though they never explain how he can understand animals in the first place. He does think he's the only one that can do this, but never answers why. I think that's something kind of important you should add in other than just because. At least before, Kimba taught himself the human language, so there's some explanation. But this one just kind of happens because the plot says it does. Kenichi's not a bad character, don't get me wrong. But I wish there was some explanation other than just this Thornberry-esque ability that he just somehow has just because it's mandatory. Also, there's Coco. Yes, this bird is Coco.
Wow! Well, shut my mouth!
Up to this point, there hasn't been that big of a difference between a character's rendition up to this point. And this is the farthest it's ever gotten. 1997's Daniel Baboon might have been a big step, but at least they kept him a guy. Coco's a girl in this movie, and she's even implied to have a crush on Leo. I am not gonna get into that. That is a way too big can of worms to mess with. Honestly, I have no idea, but at the very least, he does have a similar role of being a support to Leo here, even if he's not as snappy as he used to be. Now, before you point out, I know it's a girl now, but I'm saying he because it's easier. Now, there's one character that's especially done, and that was Toto. Once created from a litter of several, now being the last Black Panther in existence, and currently holding a very deep resentment towards humanity and being the only one willing to actually do something about it. This is the most developed Toto we have seen in the entire franchise, making him now a more tragic character. Pancha even saves his life by sacrificing his own, and in a way, I feel like they put Pagula's personality into him, but with more aggression and shade, making him a better character than most others in this movie. So, new characters? Not really much to write home about. And some I'm just flat out confused with. We got Kenichi's dad, who is in charge of the entire Neon Jungle, but also has a sort of god complex, as we previously discussed is one of the bigger themes of the film. There's also this veteran female character who does show more respect to the animals, but still supports the main boss of the company, you know, up to a point. We got very creepy alien-looking guard guy here with a taser weapon. We got 3 monkeys, a skunk and a mole that mock Leo for a bit. You kinda get the idea. Yes, they also have Eliza and Elder Dolph, but again, not much to write home about. Both basically wise supporting characters.